So I know this is going to sound pretty nerdy, but when I was a teenager, I used to love watching the Apple keynote presentations when they released all their new products every year. Nerd! While I've never been the kind of person to run out and buy a brand new phone as soon as it's released, I found myself enamored with all of the new products and all the new features they would release every year. For a period of time, it seemed like everything they announced was just the coolest. The iPhone 3G was revolutionary in the moment. And then over the years, iPhones got better and better. They had better cameras, they had better battery life, they introduced Apple Pay and Siri, and all of these just amazing features. Then came the iPad, which was basically like a big iPhone that couldn't make calls, and the Apple Watch, which was like a tiny iPhone that was on your wrist and accompanied the full-size iPhone that was in your pocket. And then came more new iPhones with a slightly better camera and slightly improved battery life, and no real notable new features to speak of. And then the next year, we saw again another new iPhone with a slightly better camera and slightly better battery life, and still nothing else all that exciting to speak of. You're probably noticing a trend here, right? Eventually, I just started to lose interest because there was really nothing exciting happening. A better camera and better battery life is always welcome for sure, but is anybody really excited about it? Are there people out there who are just so eager to go and buy a brand new phone just for a slightly better camera and slightly better battery life? Apparently there are, I'm just not one of them. Whatever floats your boat, I guess. I started to ask myself what kind of features Apple could come out with that would actually excite me and make me want to buy a brand new iPhone. And the truth is, I couldn't really come up with anything because technology has reached such a pinnacle at this point. Our phones do so much. There's so many incredible things we can do with this small computer that lives right in our pocket. Our phones already do everything we can need and more, and Apple is well aware of that. But of course, they're not going to tell you to not buy a new iPhone. They're not going to do what Patagonia did and tell you not to buy their new things because they obviously still want to make money. Well, last week I decided to skim through the new Apple presentation for all the new products, bearing in mind it had been years since I showed even a flicker of an interest. And what I found was not surprising. It was more of the same. It was, once again, a new iPhone that looked very much like every other iPhone that everybody already has, with a slightly better camera and slightly better battery life and some other marginal improvements. I was hoping I'd be surprised by something, not because I'm in the market for a new phone, but I just thought that something new and exciting might be on the market, but I was let down. But as I watched them go on and on about the new chip and the new battery and the new camera and blah 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 blah, I couldn't help but laugh to myself. Because I remember when the iPhone first came out, and for its time, the camera was pretty respectable, and for sure it's gotten miles better over the years, and now iPhone cameras are great. But they needed to come up with something new, so they started adding one to the front of the phone, which I guess made sense for FaceTime or whatever else. I guess FaceTime was also one of those improvements that seemed pretty cool at the time. So fine, so our phones have 2 cameras. All right. But no, now they have 3. Now there's 1 on the front and 2 on the back. Why? Why does a phone need to have 3 cameras in it? I'll tell you why. Because they're all out of better ideas. Does anyone remember the show Pimp My Ride, hosted by Exhibit?
It's Mr. X to the Z Exhibit.
Yeah, that guy, remember? So the premise of the show was that they would take somebody's beat up old car that was completely dead and on its last legs. They would strip it down to the frame basically and then revamp it, but instead of making it reliable and practical and cool, they would just make it completely like ridiculous, like over the top stupid.
Your own mobile CAT scan machine.
So they would put a TV in the car, but they wouldn't just put 1 TV, they'd put like 7 TVs because everybody's always wanted 7 TVs in their car, right? It just doesn't make any sense, and it seemed like they were just doing things to be over the top. I'm pretty sure the whole show was fake, and that's the whole point. It was just gimmicky. It was so gimmicky. Want a TV in your car? How about 2? How about 3? How about 7? Why not? How about some big booming speakers? Sounds good? How about like 12 of them? Why not? Well, that's what I was reminded of as I watched the Apple presentation. It was like, hey, you guys said you liked having the camera on your phone, so guess what? We gave you an even better one. And guess what? Since you liked that so much, we gave you 2. No, wait, 3 cameras. Everybody gets 3 cameras in their phone. You get a camera on your phone, and you get a camera. Everybody gets a camera. And obviously this reaches a lot further than just Apple or smartphones as a whole. Brands are always looking for ways to improve on products that don't actually need any improvement, just for the sake of trying to get you to buy something new. And the worst part of this, at least in my experience, is that newer and fancier and more expensive often doesn't translate to actually being better. So many brands and so many industries are so desperate to fix something that isn't even broken. I look at my laundry machines and I shake my head. I have these modern, sexy, front-loading machines. In fact, almost everybody does, and to be honest with you, I don't understand why. Like, sure, they're sleek and they're sexy, so much so that you may even forget for a moment that their only purpose is to scrub your dirty underwear. But what is the point of them? What was wrong with the top-loading machines that we all grew up with? These machines are awful. If you close the door between loads, they get mildewy and moldy and they stink because the design of them is flawed. The water doesn't drain properly and they just get disgusting. Why did anybody need to invent this? What was wrong with the old machines we had before? I just can't understand why this innovation was necessary because in my opinion, it's not an innovation at all. These machines came with my house and so I'm going to use them until they break, but I can promise you that when the time comes to replace them, I will absolutely never be buying a stupid front loader. I know I touched on this topic in a video a couple weeks ago about why there's now a bougie, sleek, sexy version of pretty much everything, no matter how mundane an item it may be, and it's just something that really frustrates me. It all comes down to corporations preying on your self-esteem and trying to make you feel insufficient about everything in your life. Your car's pretty cool, right? Well, guess what? It's not a Tesla. And your watch may tell the time just fine, but is it an Apple Watch? Your flat screen TV could be a little flatter, your house could be a little bit bigger, your toothbrush could have Bluetooth capabilities, why doesn't it? Okay, I'll lay off the Bluetooth toothbrush thing already, just so dumb. I guess what this all comes down to is the fact that we have seen an unbelievable amount of technological advancement in the last 20 years. And on the whole, that's a good thing, but unfortunately it has set an unrealistic expectation in all of us for what's to come in the future. Advancement can't sustain itself at this pace forever, but people don't seem willing to accept that. So as a result, what we get are corporations trying to sell us a revolving door of new products that are not actually newer or better or necessary at all. And in a lot of cases, the fancier something is, the more bells and whistles it has, the more opportunities it has to break. And believe me when I tell you that that is completely deliberate. It's called planned obsolescence and it's this century's most popular marketing tactic. Do you remember when our parents had appliances that lasted like 20 plus years and in some cases a lot longer than that? Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore because there's no money to be made in something that lasts forever. So now things are deliberately designed to break after a couple years, to be very hard or very expensive to repair, so much so that you're often better off just replacing it. This is the result of innovation slowing down. When companies realize that they don't have anything new or better to sell you, all they can do is make what you have non-functioning, so you have to keep purchasing it, because otherwise what reason would you have to purchase something new when yours is perfectly good? I suspect that we'll soon see a time when Apple doesn't even release new iPhones anymore. They just make the lifespan of the phone shorter and shorter so that we have no choice but to upgrade every single year because our phones are broken, even if they have nothing new to offer us. In fact, I may even make the argument that we're already there. I wish I could say that there was a simple solution to all of this. I mean, sure, you can take the best care possible of your things in hopes of making them last longer. You can look inwards for a sense of satisfaction and contentment that shopping will never give you. You can decide to live more simply, but really only when all of us together, collectively decide to stop worshiping these corporations, to stop throwing our money at them for lazy innovations, to demand better quality products that last longer and that are repairable, to be happy with what we have and to pick practicality over novelty, only then will they be forced to do better. If you enjoyed this video at all, if you found it at all valuable or insightful, please go ahead and hit that like button. Every like that I get helps me out tremendously and I really do appreciate it. Maybe consider subscribing as well if you haven't done so yet. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts on this. Am I crazy? Am I being cynical? Probably a little bit of both, but I think I might be onto something and I would love to know your opinions and your thoughts on the matter. Other than that, thank you guys so much as always for watching. Like I said, I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys next week. Take care.